I give intro to Nick. Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our first industry webinar for year 2021. The event is exclusively live from Smart Selangor Anjung Digital, UKM, Digital Hub for Industrial Revolution 4.0, Talent Development, R&D, and Consultancy. The purpose of this session is basically to share updated of technology which is available in the market, how the technology can be used in our research and our daily life. It is a platform to share ideas from the industrial practitioner on the state-of-the-art technology which is available. Today, we have a special guest from Huawei, Mr. Nicholas, who is basically the Executive Industry Solution Manager for the AP Asia Pacific region under the Huawei Enterprise Business Group. For your information, actually, University Kebangsaan Malaysia and Huawei has signed an MOU since 2016, and this is part and parcel, I would say, of the MOU deliverable. Okay, welcome, Nicholas, and how are you?
Dr. Nurhizam, thank you for inviting. Pleasure to be here. Okay,
basically, as we already advertised, our topic today is on 5G, AI, artificial intelligence, and cloud, which basically a common buzzword of so-called disruptive technologies, which influence our daily life, society, plus even our future. Maybe since I'm only the moderator, I'll pass over the floor to you to explain maybe in a technical or a layman term about those 5G, AI, and cloud. And later I'll share with you some of questions about this. Plus, for our participant as well, we have a FB Live. Then you can type your, what we call it, questions, and I'll pick up some of the questions and share with the panel. Okay, now, Nicholas, the floor is yours. You're welcome.
Okay. Hi, salam sejahtera and very good afternoon. And special thanks to UKM and also Dr. Nurhizam for inviting myself, especially also inviting Huawei, in this case, to present and also to provide some of a technology update, or in terms also technology chat, like you may put it, in terms of an area of 5G, AI, and cloud, in an area whereby we strongly believe in, and it's actually very strong in the core of Huawei technology approach mission, to the market today. So I will be going through some form of slides. I will make it as layman as possible, but also have some technical essence within. So of course, people from the technical field, from the faculties, can also understand, and we can have further discussion, even in future times to come. So let me just share my screen, and then we can possibly start from there. Well, is it clear? So
yes,
you can see my screen, yeah?
Absolutely, yes, clear.
Great. So let's start. So I'm going to go through an overview in terms of 5G, AI, cloud. But the key part we're going to do here today is not just only talk about not only talk about AI and 5G and cloud, but ultimately what are the use cases. So to kickstart, because I know I'm in a very tough session of 2:30 to 3:30, where everybody had lunch. To keep you awake, I will have a mixture of some videos inside, so you can actually also enjoy the session as we go through. All right,
Great.
So I'll play the first video, and then do enjoy.
Hi, intelligent world. Thanks, intelligent car. Let's discover the universe with supercomputing power. Now, we can explore Mars in class. With a vision to bring digital to every person, home, and organization. Together with our partners, Huawei is building the Horizon digital platform and ecosystem, integrating new ICT technology and bringing an intelligent world to life through digital transformation. This isn't magic. It's intelligent finance, envisioning business opportunities. You'll never miss a moment in the high-speed world of investing. This isn't science fiction. It's intelligent transportation, linking vast distances, connecting business centers, suburbs, and the outskirts. A city's blueprints can redefine efficiency for everyone. This isn't fantasy, it's reality. Intelligent campus and intelligent city are on the rise. With intelligent brains to think on their own. This isn't the future. This is now. Hi, intelligent world.
So let me just kickstart the session by introducing Huawei for those who do not know, or rather do not have a close perception in terms of what the company or how the company is. Globally, Huawei is a global company. Globally, we have almost more than 200,000 employees located in multiple parts of the world today. Now, if you can see from the slides as well, Huawei is also a company very focused in terms of R&D. So from that 200,000, you can see almost 96,000 is actually R&D employees. And Huawei invested a lot in terms of R&D to keep ourselves abreast in terms of the technologies in the market today. So that is also why Huawei can actually keep up being, for example, the top providers in terms of technology. For example, in this case, 5G, that many may know, and of course, venturing into other businesses or in terms of other platforms such as cloud, which I will talk later as well. And of course, maintaining the position and also increasing the position in the global 500 company in terms of being 61. But the key part here is this. In Huawei, the focus, many would know Huawei as, of course, from the handphone or devices perspective. So that is actually the part of our consumer product services, being an iconic global technology brand in terms of endpoint. And that business structure is actually targeted at millions of consumers. And of course, we work very closely with most of the global carrier providers. In Malaysia, of course, it's the likes of like Maxis, TM, to provide that communication infrastructure. So we are a communication infrastructure provider, and we become their partners into providing this type of connectivity. So from devices and connectivity, then we move to a very important part, which is enterprises, government, and various industries, which powers the country, which powers the world. So we are talking about areas such as enterprise product and services, whether we have a list of ICT platforms and also solutions that will assist. And primarily now you have the cloud products and services as well. And this is a very unique proposition, which I will also talk a fair bit later as well, in terms of what other services we can actually provide through the cloud platform. So from the computing platform, connectivity, and also the public cloud services. So as a whole, Huawei is just not doing handphones or not just providing in terms of carrier solutions to telcos, but we also go to the market in terms of providing solutions. And fortunately, and in Malaysia as well, we work very closely with a lot of enterprises, the FSI industry, even education industry, definitely with UKM as part of a key partner in terms of how we deliver the solutions to enable better learning experience, as well as the whole user experience perspective, and ultimately provide additional services from the technology landscape perspective. And we're going to go through today on how 5G, AI, and cloud will shape the whole difference in terms of how things are done. All right, so let's jump in straight away into the main slide. Now, I'm not going to go through the technicals of 5G, but I'm just going to go through a very layman terms. Of course, many would know 5G is evolution from 4G to 5G. Mm-hmm. But the key difference here primarily is that it's two things in particular which is different from 4G to 5G. Now, first is the bandwidth. Of course, bandwidth is much faster. The second part is actually the latency. So it's very low latency. So you can actually stream everything almost in real time, in real speed. So what we're talking about, you're able to basically stream 4K video live. all right, very, very low latency, which means there's not much delay, for that matter. And here is a short comparison of 3.5G, 4G, and 5G. So look at it this way. If you think that 4G is a highway, possibly, let's say, a 2-lane highway, 5G basically it's a 20-lane highway. Now, if you have a 2-lane highway, generally you have 2 cars, 1 lorry, or a big lorry to travel 2 lanes. But when you have 20 lanes, your capacity to deliver the load, it actually increases, all right? And you are able to deliver more at that same route at a faster speed without any much traffic, or the traffic is being very smooth. That's how 5G is going to change a lot of things. Now, I'm going to move into use case later. But of course, a lot of countries have been deploying 5G. Now, these are some of the primary reasons why. As I mentioned earlier, because 5G are actually lower in latency, therefore the transmission in larger data streams can be faster as well. This means you are no longer talking about just 2 megapixel videos. Even surveillance using drone over the city can be 4K. And that's how cool it is. And you will also be able to see things like entertainment, live sports, be able to change in terms of how the landscape of entertainment, in terms of live sports, for example, would actually be. In fact, one of the use cases we have in one of our partners who actually deployed 5G, which one of the use case, I will also show a video later. So you guys better not sleep, all right? So it's basically to show how the 5G transformed the whole experience of entertainment and sports viewing. And of course, 5G being a very looked into technology, definitely you already have a lot of devices to support. Now, it has not even been widely deployed in Malaysia. In fact, still yet to be fully deployed in 5G in Malaysia. We have actually done some pilot sites in Malaysia, but primarily we have not fully deployed 5G yet in Malaysia, but handsets are already flooding the market. All right, so of course you have handphones from Huawei, you have from Samsung and other vendors as well providing 5G phones. But of course, you cannot actually enjoy 5G fully right now. But then again, it's going to be available soon. So that's what soon to come. So I think there are a lot of interesting things to affect or to look forward to in terms of 5G, and a lot of new applications that you can see from the chart. I will not go through in detail, but you can see a lot of things like real-time gaming. In terms of for the gaming sector, you're talking about sensor networks, fast transfer, and you're talking even about virtual reality, augmented reality. So I'm going to show you an example of augmented reality later, and on how it actually changed the entertainment industry as well. Okay.
I don't know what the picture's like, whether I blur when I move around.
So this is basically making you see how many carriers, and in this sense here, 164 from 66 countries are already doing 5G testing. And of course, 110 markets in the world today will basically be deploying 5G. And of course, these are some of the countries that you can see here. But a lot of there are some countries which have already starting to commercialize, 5G for that matter. And South Korea is a very good example on how 5G has been commercialized. In fact, the augmented reality, virtual reality services is actually one of those services that the provider of 5G actually provides to the market in South Korea. So as you can see, 5G commercialization is actually accelerating. And what more in the time of the pandemic, where everybody is stuck at home, the infrastructure is key to support areas of work from home, people doing not only just voice conferencing, video conferencing, but in terms of even video content, streaming, live classes, virtual classes, live session meetings. So these are even more key in terms of how 5G can actually contribute into the need in terms of all these requirements. So these are some of the top potentials that we see from the industry application perspective. Of course, not limited to, but these are some of the areas that how 5G can basically improve. So of course, from education side, you'll be able to see things like AR, VR, being given into how education can be conducted. As I mentioned earlier, in terms of 5G live broadcast, imagine when you, for those who play golf, possibly for the older folks, but for football, for example, and also for golf, you're able to see from a multi-angle perspective live. All right, you're able to even stop, pause, and roll back. And that is the capability in terms of how the entertainment or in terms of the sport life can actually be changed. Now, smart medical. Now, imagine this. As an accident happens, usually when the ambulance arrives on the spot, if the person is, for example, injured, they have to fetch the person to the hospital, run an X-ray, and then only they can diagnose and also treat the person. Now, with 5G, the possibility is that the moment the person is actually picked up, or the injured person is actually picked up from the site, along the way the ambulance travels to the hospital, an X-ray scan can be performed, or some form of scan can be performed. And the data, live, rich video can actually be transferred live back to the hospital. And even before the patient arrives, the doctor can know the scenario and the state of the patient. And upon arrival, immediately treatment can be given. Now, this is talking about speed of treatment. So this is on the healthcare perspective. So there are so many different areas in terms of how 5G can change. But this is, to a layman term, 5G is just faster, nothing much. But from an application use case perspective, it brings a lot of rich features towards the market today. So transportation will be different. Why you see people talking about unmanned vehicles using 5G is because you're able to transmit that live video, that full feature, the full color, full HD 4K video over 5G. So these are some of the applications that we see the industry would be adopting, pretty much soon once this is in. So that is, in short, how 5G can actually change the market. I'm not going to dwindle too much in terms of 5G, but of course we can have further discussion if as and when needed, in terms of how this 5G applies. So with that, I will jump into the next use case video. But because this is also a 2:30 session, I picked up a fresh video so that you all can also enjoy, but also kick your brain a bit in terms of, this is what 5G is capable and possible of, in terms of, for example, the design, entertainment, etc. industry.
Okay, great.
잠깐만, 그거 아닌 것 같은데?
나 완전 잘했는데?
이거 봐봐. 보여? 이 왼쪽 어깨에 스웩.
5G로 어떤 안무도 완벽 마스터.
20판 일상 레알?
6플러스 AR. 춤신청아를 나만의 안무쌤으로. 오직 6플러스에서만 6플러스 5G.
A live advertisement actually in Korea, right, by LGU+. So this is actually one of the services they're selling, which is AR. They also have other advertisements on VR and other services. So if you're interested, go Google them out. I'm not going to play all the videos here, but it's just for references and also use case perspective. So this is another example of how AR can run. Now, what are the opportunities within, for example, in Asia Pacific or in Malaysia in particular? How can 5G basically change or assist or impact us, or we call it disrupt the whole industry today? Now, today, tourism is literally, with the pandemic, unfortunately painful, all right? But a lot of beautiful places in Malaysia are still unexplored by a lot of people. Now, what if everything can go on full live HD stream towards the world today? And of course, either it's a paid service or a free service. It depends on the business model. But the key part here is about experience, is about understanding and seeing the experience. And this is also capable in terms of enhancing it further with things like AR and VR, able to even interact, in that perspective. So tourism, or in terms of visitation experience, is going to totally change from that perspective. And at least it will still help boost the market to a certain level, to a certain degree. So this is, for example, probably one aspect. Now, second aspect that we definitely will see changes would be in terms of the industrial area and also the manufacturing area. Now, unfortunately, the manufacturing sector within Malaysia contributed slightly in terms of the pandemic increase for the past weeks. So why? Because there was a lot of human involved and of course interaction with that. So what would happen moving forward is a lot of automation would be seen happening, whereby even robotics to a certain matter would be introduced. And we have actually seen studies seeing that robotic adoption would actually boost boost productivity as much as by 30%. And of course, cost will definitely be lower in the long run because when you have actual live human working, there are other costs, not just the salary and as well in terms of like benefits and insurance, etc. So this is where 5G would actually change the whole industry in terms of industrial parks, encouraging high-tech industry, and especially in Malaysia, moving into high-tech industry. This will also benefit in terms of future graduates, going into this industry as well. Now, last but not least, something close to Dr. Your Heart, education. So education right now is definitely painful because we can't go to our lecture halls, we can't go to our rooms, meeting rooms to basically have this discussion. So ultimately, AR and VR is going to help. Why? Let's give an example. Sitting in front of a laptop, looking at the laptop takes a toll on you, right? But having a AR, VR experience to give you that sort of classroom ambience, looking to really change how the learning experience is. And of course, interaction will be very much different. So everybody can be in a classroom, but when physically they're not in a classroom. Hope I still have you there. So ultimately, AR, VR is going to change the whole learning experience. And literally, you need not be physically there, but still be present in terms of the learning experience. So these are probably, I would just say 3 examples in terms of possible opportunities and benefits, that how we can actually use 5G for. And of course, 5G will ultimately be supported by some technologies on the back. All right, that technology or that platform would be AI and cloud. So we will jump into AI right now. So AI, I'm not just going to go through very detailed in terms of AI because I think everybody has heard about AI, but particularly AI, to some people, it's machine learning. No, yes and no. It's related. It's part of it. Ultimately, AI is more than that because the simple way of understanding AI is putting human intelligence in machines. As simple as that. Able to process information, able to reason, able to conclude, and even self-correct. Now, I've shown some examples in the below pictures, which we always take for granted. It's actually a little bit of AI behind doing the work. So, for example, object recognition, dog, person, for example, or facial recognition, for that matter. And even phones today, handphones are all built in with applications that can actually, even do check face, who are there, what are they, and those are actually a little bit of AI algorithms on the back end, processed by applications that actually provide in terms of the feature within. And those chipsets will then allow, for example, capabilities for you to do that. For example, picture editing. For example, even putting your phone over to the language that you don't understand to translate, for example, to English, PM, Chinese. So these are the small features of AI in one part and two parts. And when you combine multiple features within, it brings you a whole new different aspect of how AI can assist. Now, I'm going to talk a fair bit on how AI is combined with cloud later. So I will put you on hold there, but I will show you one example on how AI actually assists the world today, not only just from an entertainment perspective or a use case specific in terms of pictures, in terms of translation. But this is an example that in China, it happened in of course, early 2020, when the pandemic is pretty bad in China. So what happened is that there was a healthcare solution provider worked with together with our team, and they used the AI platform within our cloud platform to provide the screening for COVID-19. And this is image analysis and also diagnosis on the lungs via the CT scan images. So what happens is traditionally the process would take around 12 minutes for the CT scan to be passed to the doctor. The doctor will then, of course, look through the picture. After looking through the picture, then they will provide the report. Of course, it's again manual, a key in, then you print out the report. But with an AI-assisted platform, literally from 12 minutes, we cut it to 2 minutes. The report is generated, is given, and the doctor just basically confirm, oh yeah, this is the case, pretty much sure. So we are talking about, especially in China, we're talking about a lot of people. So the time cut, 10 minutes per person seems nothing to an average person like you and me. But to a country, it's a lot of people, and time saved, 12 minutes and 2 minutes, you can literally six people at the same time where you're traditionally saving only one person. So that's the speed, or that's how, for example, in this use case, AI assisted in terms of the COVID-19 screening in China. Of course, this application or this platform was also shared to our MOH. They're also actually having part of this in their arsenal as well, right? In MOH today as well. So this is how technology has changed and how COVID-19 even in fact accelerated these processes, to use technology to assist in the market today. Okay, now I'm jumping into cloud computing. So cloud computing, many would basically say cloud is awan. Awan is up in the sky. But the key part here, of course, cloud technology is a technology. And of course, the SaaS within this cloud is a business model or business mode. Now, cloud computing is basically multiple devices, multiple platforms merged in together. So you have one device, multiple users, which was, as you can see, the roadmap evolution-wise, it used to be centralized, then distributed. Now cloud is coming back in whereby it is centralized, but the key part is the resource management and also the operating system is actually merged into one. And the hardware can be multiple, whereby in first case, the traditional, it was basically mainframe. And mainframe, as we know, is expensive and it's basically, there's a lock-in in terms of how it is today. But with cloud today, you have a few multiple cloud vendors. You can basically jump from cloud to cloud. You can move your system from cloud to cloud. But the key part here is that the computing capability is borderless, literally borderless, because a lot of times it's basically pay per use or pay as you use. But then again, there are various different deployment models for cloud itself. But overall, understand cloud services is the services that is provided via the cloud computing platform. And what is a cloud computing platform? Basically a merger of multiple servers, all right, to provide those services. But to the naked eye, like people like you and me who use the services, we don't actually see that. For example, Dropbox is a common cloud service that we use today. We just know that we drag it into a folder, it keeps it there. All right, and of course, behind there's a disaster recovery backup, which goes on, which we don't see. So this is what happens, and we just enjoy the services. So a lot of businesses actually are going to move into cloud. Why? It's because they don't want to think about investing in terms of how many servers, that hardware that I need to do. I just want to run servers. I just need to run applications, and these are my requirements. So that's how the cloud computing is going to assist a lot of businesses today. In fact, because of the pandemic, a lot of people are actually moving into cloud. Why? Because some of the key features or essence in terms of cloud computing is of course, the moment you have connectivity, you have the services. All right, and everything is on a self-service perspective. Resource is automated and it's flexible. If you need, for example, 20 core, 30 core processing power, immediately you can have. But traditionally, you have to purchase additional servers. So that's the difference from a deployment perspective. You can actually move very fast. And of course, the key essence in cloud perspective is implementation, automation is there, and you can easily do large-scale deployment of IT services or even applications with cloud itself. So the expansion for cloud in terms of automation, in terms of operation, administration, and maintenance, or the OAM perspective, becomes very elastic. Elastic means you can actually pull and put back. So that is how cloud contributes. Of course, the general understanding of cloud being cheap is not always the case, because cloud is not cheap as per se, but it's always on a per use basis. So the more you use, it can get expensive, but the less you use, you save. But if you invest in, let's say, for example, a whole new data center, if it's underutilized, it's underutilized. We still have to pay, whether it's in installment or the whole capex expenditure. So that is, for example, one area. Again, there's also arguably two aspects: private cloud and also hybrid cloud, which moves me to my next topic. So private and public cloud, you have various different deployments. So of course, you have the public cloud, which is housed by public cloud providers, for example, like Huawei Cloud, Ali, Azure, for example, even AWS. So there are a few areas within the public cloud itself. So one of it is actually the standard mode. So the standard mode is basically everybody sharing the same service and having the same access to the content. Now, to understand it further, to help you understand it, so using public cloud is like going on a bus. It's the same vehicle, everybody gets on it, you get from point A to point B, as simple as that. So that is the first part of how to look at public cloud. Now, number two, it's a dedicated virtual resources pool. So we can look is from point A to point B, you go into a taxi. The taxi is actually for your own use perspective, right? So that is on the virtual pool. Now, on the on-premise perspective would be more on a cloud services deployed for a user data centric or user data center perspective. So this is pretty much more on Uber and Grab. very, very tailored to the requirement and needs of a particular individual. Now, of course, this is public cloud. And in between, you have the hybrid cloud and also the private cloud. Of course, private cloud literally means your private car, all right? So you have your own car, you can do whatever you want, you can go wherever you want with your own car. So basically, this is a user construct and also a user own cloud. So hybrid basically is a model which bridge both public and also private together, whereby you have both private and public clouds to implement both the connectivity, data sharing, as well as the flexibility in terms of service and migration. So in government perspective, a lot of them globally are actually moving into the hybrid cloud perspective. And of course, universities, you may see also some public, or there will be an existence of hybrid cloud. So it depends on the whole approach on how cloud can move into. Now, to help you understand what can you actually do with this Awan or this cloud, that we always put in, there are a lot of things that you can play around with, and there's a lot of capabilities or potential. Now, I'm going to play you next a video. It's very much related to Huawei Cloud, so that you can actually see what are the capabilities or what was actually done and deployed and also possible with the cloud, and further discuss this after the video.
Good.
As our smart society materializes, cloud is becoming an inevitable choice for the digital transformation of enterprises. In the next decade, the era of Cloud 2.0, enterprises will be taking the leading role in cloudification. As a world-leading ICT solution provider, Huawei possesses superiority in AI and cloud computing. The many years of experience and expertise have culminated in Huawei Cloud, a leading-edge, future-oriented, trustworthy platform. Today, industries are embracing and practicing AI. AI resources, especially computing power, are both scarce and expensive. Huawei's full-stack and all-scenario AI portfolio offers a faster and inclusive AI development platform. The leading performance chipset, the Atlas development kits, and the inclusive AI platform Model Arts are boosting the industrial adoption of AI. Huawei Cloud's Model Arts provides the latest AI technologies to data scientists, data engineers, IT engineers, and all kinds of business applications. Offers ultra-fast and ultra-simple experience for enterprises' AI development. Developers with zero coding and zero AI experience could utilize it to help foster a fully connected, intelligent world. When Cloud plus AI meets industries, Huawei Cloud creates Huawei Cloud EI Intelligent Twins. Huawei's latest AI technologies and industrial know-how are making changes in industry upgrading. On data security protection, Huawei Cloud offers systematic security solutions with chip-level assurance, which has been issued 40-plus security certificates and licenses globally. Huawei strives to build an open, cooperative, and mutually symbiotic cloud ecosystem, providing a healthy basis for the future intelligent ICT ecosphere and driving continuous industrial and social improvement, building a fully connected, intelligent world.
So here is a little video on Huawei Cloud. So just to let the viewers know, in fact, the beauty about Huawei Cloud today is not just only a public cloud service that is available. It's also a solution or a platform that we have actually collaborated with Malaysia's very own TM. And TM has actually launched Cloud Alpha. It's actually a collaboration between Huawei to provide that cloud or a public cloud within Malaysia. But the key part here is this, that the node or the data center is actually in Malaysia. Now, the key part here to some who may not be aware, data sovereignty in terms of certain information stays within the country, especially Malaysia, which actually cherish in terms of information privacy, data privacy very much. So all this information and data will actually be stored and also stay in Malaysia itself. So that's one of the key selling points that as of now, there's no other cloud vendors which provides that platform within the Malaysian market today. So there's one unique proposition. Of course, the other unique proposition is that, as you can see in the use case earlier, we show different industry-specific solutions. So from campus or smart campuses or industry campus, from automotive, transportation, even to education, finance services, there are various different solutions available. So that is a form of solution. But we also have general purpose-based solutions, which can be used by various institutions or various agencies to provide what they need to perform or they need to translate out. Let me take an easy example, for example. Yeah. So if you're talking about things like IoT, so you can actually run an IoT platform on the cloud itself, and of course, within the IoT, we have multiple providers which can basically provide you with devices from the platform, applications to the hardware, and also even the analysis itself. You can even go into, like, for example, cloud VR, build an application or build something in terms of related to the VR, but it's housed in the cloud. So everybody can actually access. You don't have to or don't necessarily need a dedicated server, a huge pipe, to basically run that. So another part, for example, would be things like Roma. Now, Roma is something very unique. It's actually part of the platform that Huawei provides. It's actually a middleware which talks to multiple systems to integrate and normalize the data into a common data that all systems can actually use. This is quite key because in the market today, you have multiple systems, but how do you then take all those different information, make it the same, and then provide it and share it across various different applications? So that, for example, is one of the main core parts within the smart city implemented today. So cloud basically has various different solutions, various different applications within that you can actually use according to the industry and according to the solutions that you require. Now, some of it, or even more closer to heart, or how it's actually used, I can basically show it here. So in terms of like industries, you can basically use it for things like mobility to see where are those devices, for example, or even use it for prediction. Prediction means you actually have a big data service within, use all those information to do some form of prediction. Or even, for example, use it for video analysis to detect, for example, in this case, illegal behavior detection. So someone crossing the river. So now a lot of all these features are now built into devices or actually built into servers, But what you can actually do is you can basically just have it on the cloud, and then the end devices just basically do the processing, and you actually just use the intelligence features within the cloud, and it's continuously learning based on what it's actually learning on the whole other platforms as well. So this is how cloud can help, is because everything is housed within the cloud and the learning happens there. And that's where the cloud and AI, which I mentioned earlier, always plays an important role, is because cloud allows AI to learn much faster, much more, because of the computing capability that it has. And of course, the pathological services, I will not speak more because I have shown an example, the COVID-19 diagnosis, the CT scan diagnosis, so that is one of the areas. Now, of course, other applications are available. Things like OCR in terms of services are actually possible within the cloud. And these are just services that you can just use within those clouds. You don't need to just download the application, install, then you use. Or ASR, or automatic speech recognition, or natural language processing, means converting speech to text, or even text to speech, and of course, all these are services that is actually available on cloud today. For those who do not know, that is actually part of a cloud application and services. Now, another part that we would also like to stress is that there's also a lot of AI development platforms. So people who do not know AI in terms for the programming perspective, but I want to use AI, there's a platform, for example, called Model Art. And I will also share a very interesting use case, a use case very close to Malaysia. So stay back. So a very use case very close to Malaysia, how they actually use AI to help increase their production and improve their production, and also, of course, ultimately provide that customer experience to the user as well. So this is how from a industry, from an application, and from a developer perspective, we try to cover from the cloud offerings, and how cloud can actually offer this type of coverage towards the industry and as well as towards Malaysia today. Now, to put as a whole, digital transformation plays a pivotal role in countries today, especially deep struck by the whole pandemic situation. And cloud would definitely play an important role because of the various use cases that it has housed, not only just from a country perspective, from a global perspective. And these are some of the various intelligent use case and industries in terms of services and also platforms that is available, within the cloud today. Just to name a few things, like for example, from public agency, public safety perspective, you have safe cities, transportation, incident forecasting. From a healthcare perspective, early prevention or tech-assisted diagnosis, which also you have seen earlier. And from a finance perspective, you're talking about real-time fraud prevention, anti-money laundering type of detection. So because they study patterns, so once you improve patterns, the AI within the cloud can actually process those patterns and give you a form of a report, an outcome, or incident report. And of course, you can move into agriculture. So how do you then use this data to do optimized fertilization? It literally goes on and on. I think if I talk about this slide alone, we'll finish tomorrow. So I better just not talk too much here. But key part here is cloud provides a lot of, cloud and AI gives opportunity to a lot of new experience, new services. And these are some of the potential and capabilities that you can actually see from or can be accessed from the cloud perspective. And these are all end use cases. Now, then we come into today's subject to combine it together. Yeah. So what does cloud AI 5G or 5G AI cloud mean? All right. So of course, to Huawei is building your fully digital enterprise. Now, these are some of the use cases. All right. That, for example, in the aviation industry, used for airframe defect detection, splicing gap inspections. For example, for vehicle road synergy to view the road inspection to see the road condition, and AR surveillance perspective in terms of to use it for facial recognition, for example, for using the engine within the cloud itself. So the synergy here is that 5G is the connectivity piece, which transports the medium into the cloud. The AI and cloud then processes those information and provides you with the outcome / services that you require. Be it intelligent irrigation, be it for smart home, be it for unmanned aerial vehicles to process video, or even telemedicine, or even predictive maintenance or inspection. So this is how the whole ecosystem basically works. In order for you to process something, you need to get it from somewhere. So 5G is the connectivity which provides that, but at a very high speed with low latency, right? As a reminder. So with that, much more can be done. And remember earlier, which I talked about 5G having the very high bandwidth, that's where the 4K piece comes in. That's where the detail, attention to detail comes in. Because when you have a 2 megapixel, for example, CCTV, a 4K CCTV and a 2 megapixel CCTV, or a 4K road on your car camera, dash cam, and a HD dash cam, the quality is huge. And that's where the video quality can actually assist in terms of the detail. Now, these are two examples which I would like to share that actually implemented 5G AI cloud or cloud AI 5G in terms of how it actually improved the whole landscape. In the first case is a smart island done in Longzi Lake in China. They use, number one is drone inspection. So the drone can actually fly across everywhere. And because it's 5G, you can again stream very high quality video, for example, in this case, 4K, throughout to do the surveillance. And on top of that, they use real-time vehicle identification to improve the security efficiency within the whole district. And of course, uninterrupted automated monitoring and patrolling, right, using machines or using basically robots. So you don't need to have someone literally walking. And the problem with security sometimes is it's an open secret. In Malaysia, now you can't, but previously when you go to a condo or a housing area, how do you open the gate? You show this, the hand, you see. So the hand basically tells the guard to open the gate, but that is not right from a policy, from a security safety perspective. So using machines sometimes may cause disgruntle among certain people, but it assures security and safety, the intended use of that particular technology. So this is one use case. The other use case is, for example, using cloud AI and 5G to do video surveillance recognition in Chengdu, and also for their bridge safety upgrade. So what happens is that you have 4K camera on the vehicle, it travels past by the road, and the road basically, it then reads the condition of the road, transmit all the information back to HQ or to the main operation center, and they will automatically dispatch the needed maintenance crew to basically maintain the road. And I think this technology is something that Malaysia also needs very much. Of course, we won't have another road pothole incident, hopefully. So I think that this is a key part that we need to, it can actually again use to change. So the key part here is again, why 5G is because of the high quality 4K video. Because it's so much so how a 2 megapixel camera or even an HD quality video can actually provide. So these are some of the key areas or two important use cases that has been used or examples that I can share in terms for the cloud, AI, and 5G. Okay, now that brings me to my next video. So if you guys are still with me,
yes.
I'm going to end pretty much soon. But let me play you this video. This is an example of a Malaysian company which actually went into using cloud and AI and how it basically changed the whole landscape within their business. Right, so let's enjoy the video, and I'm sure those who use their product will know who they are. We'll talk more after this. Enjoy.
Okay, all right.
Saya hari-hari mesti mau makan pedas.
Les épices donnent un autre niveau de complexité au produit.
Chili adalah nyawa saya.
I've been to many places in the world, but the spices of Malaysia are the best.
ஒரு நல்ல சில்லி காரமாக இருக்க வேண்டும்.
我妈妈做的辣椒酱是全世界最好吃的辣椒酱。
Good chili or bad chili, I call the shots. Selecting the right chili is essential to prepare authentic Malaysian cuisine. Hexa has been pursuing the most delicious chili flavors since 2007. Making spices require a lot of good attention and details, just like making good coffee. There are hundreds of different kinds of chili in the world and countless recipes. My desire to make the best Malaysian tasting cuisine has brought me to many places. Quality of the ingredients determines how good the food can be. Only chilies that meets our requirement of shape, brightness, color, and gloss is eligible to be made into spices. We use an extremely accurate AI-powered selection process to identify the best chilies quickly and efficiently. When we set a goal, we intend to complete it. We take pride in assembling the necessary talents and tools. That's why we partner with Huawei in our mission to produce the best spices. Malaysians say chili is a meal. People don't simply just eat chili, they taste the struggle. They taste love. That tastes home. What makes a good chili? The best way to answer this question is to never stop seeking for a better answer. We have a mission to link traditions with the flavors in people's memories. Always.
So Hexa is actually one of our customers in this use case video. They produce, in fact, I do some cooking myself. So Hexa spices are pretty good. So from the quality perspective, So do look them up if you're at the supermarket today, especially now everybody is home cooked because of
feeling hungry.
That's why I said I was almost wanting to ask, anybody want to eat curry fish head right now? But luckily after lunch, so not too bad, not too bad. But I think a key part here, Doctor, is that I think how AI actually changed how the standard operation in terms of how, for example, Hexa does their quality selection, within in terms of spices. And from a very traditional business of spices, incorporating very new technology such as AI. That marriage, some may not even understand sometimes, but this is the synergy that it brings to the market today. Why? Is because AI literally automates changes and assists a lot in terms of how things can be done. And that's how it is with even various agencies, even institutes today. Because of cloud, you can actually start to even develop AI models on top of the cloud, even without huge investment in terms of systems, processors, servers, and platforms. So that is where cloud plays an important role in today's landscape of a key player for a key factor for technology or key contributor for technology perspective. So to end, I just would like to just share a very simple 10 changes that possibly we observe will change or will shape the future. Some is already happening already. I will not go through all, but I'll just possibly go through a few key ones as you can glance through as I go through. That would be great. So the first thing we'll basically be seeing is that training will no longer be just a matter of days and months, but minutes and seconds. Why? It's because you no longer need to first travel to a location, run the course, then travel back. With AR and VR, everything can be done virtually. With AR and VR, you can even do hands-on training, for that matter. So training is going to be transformed with technology, with cloud, AI, and video. And of course, you're talking about computing power is also very much affordable right now as compared to previously. And it's even getting more affordable as we go forward. And of course, with automation, definitely you're going to see more automation in the future to come, or even now as we speak, because of, for example, the main reason right now would be, for example, the pandemic, but also because of cost, also because of accuracy, automation will happen in many, many industries as well. Now, you also have a lot of real-time information, real-time info. It's like last time, I still remember many years back when we were doing presentation, you can talk whatever you want, people will still not know what you're talking about. But today, the wrong thing you speak, they'll be Googling and then say, you should know about this, So this real-time information is very, very different. And of course, last time, only highly skilled experts can work with AI. But right now, AI is a basic skill. You can basically access the AI platform anywhere and everywhere. It becomes a platform accessible to everyone. So students, if you're listening, you can actually explore AI, as we speak. Of course, the correct way to do is then to find out how, through the websites available in the market today or available in the internet today. And of course, a lot of new jobs which were not available previously are now starting to be available or becoming more. So last time, there was a scarcity of data scientists. But even now, I understand a lot of even institutions are going into data scientists, subject matter experts, and even data science engineers. So these are jobs that were previously very weird or not even available, many years ago. So these are some of the changes that we see, or that I also basically see would basically shape the future, and very, very key in terms of some of them as we speak. So with that, I would end my session with one short video, just to sum everything up. The world is getting smarter. Everything is getting more intelligent. And smart city is a term not foreign to many, but sometimes it's misperceived, to a certain manner. But let me just show you one example of a smart city that is implemented in the world today, which gives that feel of being intelligent, and it can only get better. All right, so with that, enjoy the video. So with that, thank you very much for the session. Thank you for allowing me to present, and I hope you guys enjoyed the session, and no one actually dozed off. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Nicholas, for the, I would say, very enriching resources from the layman term or perspective. Then I would say that people from the industry as well as from the research, for example, from the my faculty aware about what is AI, cloud, as well as 5G. And you have given a very good examples of this hexa. Maybe because we are towards the ends of this 1 minute, 1 hour, it's not enough. I received one question from the FB live. They're asking about how actually Huawei from a humble beginning in China, and it's like a Chinese product, and then can spread over the world, because sometimes some people associate a China's product with something that is not reliable, very cheap, but then you are go to more than 170 countries. Can you elaborate a bit on that?
I think if you understand Huawei's background, we come from a telecommunication background. Of course, the founding Mr. Ren is also a very technical person as he started the business, and he started at a very humble beginning. And of course, ultimately he had a vision. And of course, as I also shared in my slide also, is building a fully connected and intelligent world today. So he had the vision to connect everything, to provide that network, to provide, and of course, telecommunication was key, during that time. And that's where Huawei became very rooted in terms of its mission, and to also reply in terms of China's product, in terms of reliability and stuff like that. So this is where it gets interesting. One of the main passions is to provide technology which is reasonable and affordable to everyone to access. So I think this is very key, because, for example, throwing back not only just telecommunication, throwing into things like consumer devices, we make it affordable. I wouldn't use the word cheap, because frankly, it's not cheap. We already like for one of the Huawei phones today is actually not cheap, but comparatively, it is reasonably priced. That's what I always tell and to our partners. So that's where we let everybody access that technology.
Yeah. Okay, I think it's a very strong proposition. It's not really cheap, but it's reliability on the costing, a kind of that. Okay, I think with that, no more questions. There is one question about how to get an internship in Huawei. Maybe from my final year student, one of the questions here. Maybe. Yeah.
You can always write into our HR. So I think we are always looking into internship, because in fact, I think Dr. you're also aware, we work very closely with the institutions within Malaysia. So MOH and MOHE is also the ministry that Huawei works very closely with. So we look forward to bring more technology and collaborate with more universities, today as well.
Okay, I think that's all. Ends of the session. We have received a lot of ideas, a lot of insights were generated from the videos, from the ideas, slides by Nicholas. I think, ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause to Mr. Nicholas for his time with us, and as well as for yourself, active participants. I saw around more than 100, 153, more than 150 participants who are actually eager to know about the contributions of Huawei technology in Malaysian scenario, in industry, and as well as in our society. So I think with that, again, thank you very much to Nicholas. All the best to everybody. Take care during this pandemic COVID-19, as well as stay tuned to our next session next month on the technology update. Okay, see you then. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Stay home, stay safe.
Okay.
sapu hati cuma satu, hanya goyang diam di situ. Biar ketuk tapi jauh, kau tak usah mau ragu. I love you. Sudah Joko mau ragu-ragu, batunggu jo di situ, satara baku seduh, hingga itu batahan-tahan rindu dulu, tunggu sabar ke situ, nanti saya kasih tunjuk, kalau saya serius, pas sapu hati cuma satu, hanya goyang diam di situ, biar ketuk tapi saja. Sudah